What's up, everyone? Welcome back to WrestleScope, the channel that pulls back the curtain on everything WWE doesn't want you to talk about. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because today we are going off. Before I say another word, pause what you're doing, put down your phone, because what I'm about to tell you is going to make your blood boil. It made mine boil. It made every single hardcore wrestling fan I've spoken to absolutely furious. And by the time this video is over, you're gonna want to flip a table. Let's get into it. Bron Breakker, the most physically dominant, electric, terrifying young superstar WWE has produced in the last decade, will not be at WrestleMania. Read that again. Bron Breakker will not be at WrestleMania. The man who has been absolutely destroying everything in his path on Raw, the man who has the whole wrestling world buzzing, the man who looks like he was genetically engineered in a lab specifically to be a pro wrestler, is going to be sitting at home while WrestleMania goes on without him. And here's the part that should make you furious. This didn't have to happen. Let's rewind for a second, because context matters here, and I want you to feel every single layer of this story. Bron Breakker has been on a warpath. Since making the move to Monday Night Raw, this guy has been a wrecking ball. The spear, the power lifts, the sheer intensity in his eyes every single time that music hits. Bron doesn't just enter an arena, he takes it over. Crowds react to him like he's a natural disaster rolling through town. You don't cheer or boo Bron Breakker, you just survive him. He was on the trajectory that every wrestling fan dreams of watching, a young bull charging full speed toward the biggest stage in the industry, WrestleMania season, the grandest stage of them all, the moment that turns good wrestlers into legends. This was supposed to be Bron's moment, and now it's gone. Reports have confirmed that Bron Breakker is dealing with an injury that requires surgery, and that surgery is going to sideline him for a significant chunk of time that lands directly on top of WrestleMania season. The timing couldn't be more brutal. The timing couldn't be more cruel. And the timing, and this is where I need you to really pay attention, raises serious questions that WWE has to answer. Now, here's where the story takes a turn that nobody else is talking about. Everyone is reporting the what. Bron is hurt, Bron needs surgery, Bron misses WrestleMania. Fine, sure, I can report that too. But I want to talk about the why, and more importantly, the who is responsible. Think about how WWE has booked Bron Breakker over the past several months. Think about the physicality they've asked this man to bring week after week after week. Bron doesn't do half measures. He doesn't dial it back. He doesn't take shortcuts. When WWE asks Bron Breakker to go out there and be an absolute monster, he does exactly that every single time at full speed, full power, full impact. And now that loyalty, that total commitment to his craft and to WWE's product has cost him the biggest payday and biggest spotlight of his career so far. Let me ask you something directly. Is that fair? Where is WWE's accountability in protecting one of their most valuable assets? Because that is exactly what Bron Breakker is. He is a franchise-level investment. He is a future world champion. He might very well be the face of this company in the next 5 years. And the way they've been pushing him, maximum physicality, maximum effort, breakneck pace, without apparently ensuring his body could sustain that workload long-term, that is a conversation we need to have loudly and publicly. I'm not saying WWE caused this injury. Injuries happen in professional wrestling. That's the brutal, ugly truth of this industry. But I am saying that when you build a rocket ship and then run it at full thrust 24/7 without maintenance checks, don't be surprised when something breaks. And let's take a moment to think about this from Bron's perspective, because behind the spear and the intensity and the beast mode persona is a young man who has worked his entire life for a moment like WrestleMania. This is Rick Steiner's son. This is a kid who grew up watching his father and his uncle perform at the highest levels of this industry. This is someone who had the genetic gifts and put in the work. He wasn't handed anything. He earned every single reaction, every pop, every viral moment on Raw. He earned his WrestleMania moment. And to have it ripped away by injury at this exact moment in time is genuinely heartbreaking when you think about it as a human story, not just a wrestling storyline. The wrestling world needs to acknowledge that, not just with sympathy tweets and Instagram ghosts, but with a real conversation about how the industry treats its performers' bodies. Now, let's talk about what this actually means for WWE moving forward, because the ripple effects of Bron missing WrestleMania are bigger than most people are letting on. WWE had plans. You don't build a guy up the way they've been building Bron without having a destination in mind, and that destination had WrestleMania written all over it.
Now those plans have to be scrapped, reshuffled, or completely redesigned. Other superstars get shuffled up and down the card. Storylines that were building toward a payoff have to be abruptly ended or awkwardly redirected. And most importantly, that momentum Bron had, that is almost impossible to fully recapture after a lengthy absence. In the world of professional wrestling, momentum is everything. The crowd is fickle, attention spans are short. By the time Bron comes back, WWE is going to have to rebuild that rocket from scratch. And the question is whether they'll be smart enough and patient enough to do it right this time. Because if they rush him back and overwork him again, we're going to be sitting here having this exact same conversation in another 12 months. I want to know what you think, and I mean that. This isn't just a throwaway question at the end of a video. This is a real conversation that the wrestling community needs to have. Drop a comment right now and tell me, do you think WWE is responsible for how they use their young talents' bodies? Do you think Bron Breakker will come back stronger from this? Or do you think this injury has genuinely derailed what could have been a legendary WrestleMania debut moment? And most importantly, who do you think should be held accountable when a top superstar gets hurt right before the biggest show of the year? I read every single comment on this channel. Every single one. So say something real, say something bold, and let's actually talk about this. If this video made you think, if it made you angry, if it made you feel something, then do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It takes 2 seconds and it helps this channel get this conversation in front of more wrestling fans who deserve to hear it. Subscribe to WrestleScope if you haven't already. We are the channel that doesn't sugarcoat WWE, doesn't carry their water, and doesn't pretend that everything is fine when it clearly isn't. We tell the truth here, and we're just getting started. Share this video with a wrestling fan who needs to hear this story, because this is bigger than just one superstar. This is about how WWE treats the people who make their product great. Bron Breakker deserved his WrestleMania moment, and somebody needs to make sure he gets it back. I'm out. See you in the next one.